Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Overcast podcast, where I talk to people who are interesting. I'm your guest, your host, Corey Baron, and I'm here today joined by the incredible Zach Olsen. Zach, how are you doing, man?
Hello, good, thank you. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic. Thanks so much. How are you holding up in these times, the current state of the world? How's it treating you?
It's good at the moment because I'm living in Melbourne at the moment in the city, and last year we had a big old lockdown that went for it seemed like all year, and so now the city's all opening up again, and the show's happening again, and all that kind of thing. We can go out for dinner now, so it's kind of resembling some sort of normality.
Hmm.
Um, but yes, I think we'll see how that goes. I think the domino effect of everything being closed and stuff for nearly a whole year hasn't quite caught up with everyone yet, and
Yeah.
so we'll see by the end of the year how everything is. But right now, it feels good. It's like the summer's happening and everyone's going to the beach, and yeah, it's feeling good again.
Cool. Yeah, it definitely seems, at least from an outsider perspective, it seems like things are, you know, healing a lot better over there, with you guys having live shows again and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it
Um,
feels. I mean, it's the swap around thing because last year we had the strictest and longest lockdown in the world, and so at the time it was. By the end of it, it was really hard to see, everything, to see everyone else in the world almost leading what looked like a normal life. And then, now it's sort of swapped with everyone, and now we're not locked down and everywhere
mhm,
else is.
yeah.
Um, anyway, it's good. It's good to be back.
That's good. That's good. We can move on from the gloomier side of things. um, but yeah, of course, I'd like to talk to you about your music. You're you have how do I put it? You've been around uh musically. You have a hand in so many different projects and stuff. It's almost mind-boggling to be able to keep up with, like, oh, where Zach Olsen is in in terms of music and stuff. From a fan point of view, at least, because you have Orb, Traffic Island, Hierophants, and bands like that. Does it seem like, do you ever get overwhelmed by all that stuff, or is it just another day in the life?
Yeah, I've had. I mean, when I was younger, in my early 20s, the same thing. I was playing in 5 bands or something, and I got to the point where I just couldn't stand it, and yeah, just stood back heaps and wanted to put everything into one band.
Hmm.
And that kind of happened when Orb started. It was sort of, yeah, felt like doing music again. And we started the new band, and that was sort of the only thing we did for like 3 years or so.
Hmm.
And then, but yeah, for whatever reason, just everyone, everyone in the music scene that I play with, we just have such short attention spans, or something. We just jump around all the time trying to make different things. And
Yeah.
sometimes I'm envious of people that just have the one project, and it's real clean and everything goes into that. But for whatever reason, I just can't do that. And yeah, I also like the idea of just leaving a total mess. Like,
Yeah.
because I get anxious when I think about, yeah, all my past releases, just because of it seems like such a mess to me. It seems really incoherent and like unfocused. So, I try not to think about anything I've done before, or
Hmm.
especially because, I could just think, things about every album I'd like to change, basically, or I'd like to take a song off it, or think I should have put this song on that album or something. And
Hmm.
but yeah. So the idea is just keep going forward, and with the next thing, try and fix what I didn't like about the last thing I did. Really.
Yeah, that actually is a perfect segue into one of the things that I had written down in my notes here, saying that you seem like the kind of person that is the keep moving forward, don't look back kind of person. Seeing with
Mm,
like how many projects you're a part of, and also the different sounds that you explore in all of those, it seems like you never stick to one sound, and I mean that in the best way possible. A perfect example would be talking about like your solo thing, Traffic Island or Traffic Island sound. It's cool seeing the evolution of that, going from, especially the leap from like going from like the more um, psychedelic pop, almost folky sound of Nature Strip, and then going
mm,
into the Traffic Jam, the next album off of that. Um,
mm.
so I guess one of my questions would be: does the future of Traffic Island, do you see yourself going into further explorations of different sounds, or would you ever consider, going back and revisiting some of the sounds that you already did, for example, like Nature Strip?
Yeah, for sure. See, the thing with Traffic Island is it's just the one thing where I can really just do as I wish and not have to console anyone, about the direction or and and so yeah, the thing with the second Traffic Island album was nearly going to have a different name. I was going to put it out under a
Hmm.
different moniker, but then I just thought that might make it difficult for the record label, and they might not even want to release it then because it's just a different thing,
Hmm.
and I still wanted it to be listened to by the same people that listen to Nature Strip, because even though it was made in a different way, it's still all the same types of chords that I use, or the same types of melodies, even though there's no singing on it. But um, so yeah, it's just Traffic Island's just whatever I'm into, I can explore that at the time and do it. And so at the risk of sounding cliche, I was into hip hop and stuff at the time that I did the peanut butter one. So I just, without being, I wasn't going to try and tackle rapping or anything. So I just
Hmm.
sort of took inspiration from the sound, from sonically from hip hop, I think, and then but yeah, there's definitely. I mean, the next Traffic Island album is a big return to Nature Strip sounds for sure, like
Cool.
all guitars and piano and stuff like that again,
Hmm.
and yeah, lots of words. And the one after that, I think it's going to go back again to the more peanut butter sound and sort of
Oh man,
yeah,
that's crazy to think that you have that many albums lined up already for the future.
yeah. Well, it's yeah. The thing with because it's not like I have all the songs written. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
that yeah, it's easy just to quickly think of it. Like I think of a concept or something with the album, and then so I just know that one day I'm gonna, do that album. The next Traffic Island one was recorded all with the same band of Nature Strip and stuff like that. So,
Hmm.
and when we did the Nature Strip tour, we maybe learned about 8 songs and we're playing them live, but they weren't on Nature Strip because we learned them after that was released. So it's kind of yeah, it's just that period of stuff, and it was nearly didn't come out, and then I listened to it again recently and thought I should put all this out. So
Well, I guess yeah, that seems like you're kind of doing both. You're still looking ahead, but of course revisiting to things that you've done already.
it's
I
really, I mean, really ultimately at the end of the day, like what my real core, like the real music that I really want to play is that Nature Strip sound is kind of that's sort of like my DNA or something, or like that's the
Mhm.
main thing that if there was one album that I had to be judged by at the end, that would be the one that I think would best represent me or
Mhm.
something like that.
Yeah. Um, that is cool. I kind of lost my train of thought there. Uh, but I'd like to go into your writing process when you're coming up with a new song. I've always thought about this, especially with somebody as, I guess, prolific as you. Um, when you're writing a song, do you go into it thinking, or do you go into it knowing that you're writing for this specific moniker, or do you like write a song and then end up be like, oh well, this would fit better over here, so I should put that to the side for this one?
Usually it's pretty specific for a thing. I just yeah. I just know, like, say if I'm writing for Orb or something, it's generally like if there's a fuzz pedal in it, then I'll know
Then
it's
it's an orb.
or just some something a little bit stranger or because usually with a lot of Orb stuff, we all write different segments and then try sticking a whole bunch of things together. So it's that kind of thing with Orb. Whereas if I'm actually writing and with a pencil and a guitar, then generally that tends to be Traffic Island.
Hmm.
And then if I can't write anything, I can't just sit there and write songs every day. But I try and also, like, if I'm not inspired to write a song, I'll still make music, which is basically what peanut butter is, or it's just like, it's just, it's not really songwriting. I was just building songs up on the computer with synthesizers and that kind of thing.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's a kind of songwriting, but it's a whole different sort of way of doing it. But so yeah, if I don't have the inspiration, I still just will make anything. Like I just have a folder on my computer of just, it's just called Noodles, and it's just, if I go to the studio, before I do anything, I'll make sure I just make something up, no matter what, like a
Hmm.
2 minute little thing, just to keep the ball rolling. Because if you
Yeah.
don't use it, they say.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, so when you're writing something, do you usually tend to like if you go into writing an Orb album, I guess, are you more so wanting to be like, okay, then I'm gonna write an album? Like, do you give yourself a time frame, or do you like to, write something and then maybe go do something else and then revisit it every now and then?
Yeah, with Orb, it's kind of it's different because it's real. It's no one's band. It's the three of us, and we all sort of make decisions and all make the music. And with the first three Orb albums, all that music was written really quickly because we just had a jolt of inspiration because it was a new band, and almost all those three albums were written in the same year, and then just staggered releasing them.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, some of the songs that are on the third album were written before the ones that are on the third album, the first album, and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
yeah, so that's a real group of songs, and we sort of haven't. We probably had like a year or 2 years off even writing for all while we were still touring those albums and stuff like that. But we are going in to record the fourth one next weekend. So, and we've been writing a while now, so that feels good. It was less fuzzier, so we decided we have to write some fuzz, write some fuzz for it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
it'll still be a working process. I don't think we'll finish it
mhm.
anytime soon, but yes, this year it'll be out.
Cool. Yeah, because I saw that you recently announced that the new show at the Forum on March
Mm-hmm.
20th.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I saw that you were going to be premiering new music there,
Yeah,
which is really cool. And it's 2 sets. How are you excited for that?
yeah, I'm excited. I mean, it makes you a bit nervous just coming out and because it's like a new band or something when you come out and play 10 new songs in a row. It's
Hmm.
and like we haven't played a gig since um, our last gig was in Barcelona in 2019.
Oh man.
So we haven't played a gig since then, and it's going to be scary, but it'll be fine. I mean, the Forum's the biggest venue we've played in Melbourne, so
Hmm.
hopefully some people buy tickets. And I think we have a big audience in America, really. So it's a strange thing. A lot of bands here, a lot of the more sort of Australian psychedelic bands tend to have a bigger audience in America than they do here.
Do you think it might be because over there it seems, um, I don't want this to sound bad, but it might seem more, saturated over there because there's so much of it. Like that's where it's coming from.
Yeah, yeah, a bit of that, and just I think something about the psychedelic sort of music in general. I don't know, although it's quite popular, Australians don't seem to connect with it as much as I don't know what it is. Like, see, like the punk scene here or something is far, yeah. far more involved, and a lot more people would go to punk shows and stuff than any psychedelic bands, besides Gizzard or something, who like still put on big shows here. But even in America, they'd put on bigger shows than they would here in Melbourne. I guess also there's just a hell of a lot more people in America.
Yeah, that probably helps too a little. But when things were normal, would you prefer to play a live show, or you're more of, I want to sit down and write kind of person?
I think I'm more of a sit down kind of write person. But having said that, I wish I was more of a live show person. I mean, when Orb started, it was so fun because we hadn't ever been in a band where we were allowed to be that loud, and and so that was real fun, having all that kind of like power or energy or something. But at the same time, I'm not really one to I'm not a very loud person. That I don't like raising my voice and stuff like that. And sometimes in front of a big crowd of people, I found it hard to feel like doing it sometimes. So towards the end of the Orb shows, I was kind of ready to just bunker down and record, I think. But no, I'm looking forward to playing live again. I've been doing a couple acoustic shows and stuff around town now, and it's been feeling good. Like I thought I'd never do one of those ever again, but I'm doing those now. So yeah, I think I'm excited about playing live.
That's
but
cool.
I love seeing a really good live show. And I mean, when we did a tour with OCs in Australia, and just seeing like how they operate live and stuff I was just like so envious, and would have loved. I was just like, man, I want to be in that band or something. Like it seems so fun and energetic and loud, and
that's
every live show should be to me. It seemed like it.
Yeah, that's one of the tours that I was the most envious of. I was so jealous. I was like, fuck, dude, because I've seen the OCs a few times, and I've never seen Orb, and to see both of those bands together is just like, that'd be insane to me. I was gonna see you guys when you toured with Giz in the States last time, 2018, I think.
We've done two tours with them. I think we did 2019, and then we did their like Nonagon tour in.
Okay, yeah, it was 2019 then.
Yeah.
I was gonna go see you guys, and it was funny because I was actually messaging you beforehand, and I was like, "Hey, can I like meet you before the show to like get a picture or something?" And then literally the day before the show, because I live, you guys were playing at Stubbs, and I live like 4 hours away from there, and literally the day before, my girlfriend broke her foot. And so we had to cancel the whole thing. So that was a gut punch, but
that was a fun show. I love Austin.
Yeah, that's what I hear with a lot of artists. They usually tend to love Austin. What is it that sets it apart? I wouldn't know, because I mean, to me, Austin is like the big city in Texas, so I'm kind of familiar with how it runs. But I mean, like talking with like you, who tours like a bunch of different cities, like what sets Austin apart?
Well, I have kind of fond memories of when Orb went and did South by Southwest there, 2017 or 18. I can't remember which one. Might have been 18. But we just had a real fun time, and I don't know. Yeah, I just loved the city, and then we went. I can't exactly explain it. It was just so much good food. I think mainly it's just the fond memories of South by Southwest and having a really good time, and then everyone was really enthusiastic, and then especially at the Stubbs show, like it was just crazy. Yeah, I like the heat in Austin. It's like a different kind of heat that I sort of enjoyed. That it's strange because it's closer to the equator, so it's got that kind of tropical humidity, but then you're in the desert. It's kind of this strange feeling heat that I enjoy. I like playing gigs.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Get down and dirty with it, sweaty.
I love all that. Yeah, I love when the fighting with your guitar to stay in tune, and I think that's all real fun.
Well, that's cool. Um, whenever you're recording, like you had touched on it a little a while ago, of how you went into you recorded uh, peanut butter in sort of
Hmm.
a different way than you would have recorded Nature Strip.
Hmm.
Um, can you kind of go into like how different projects record differently?
Yeah, sure. Like Nature Strip was really just clean, pretty basic. Like just got the band, guitar, bass, and drums, and recorded to tape. And by Jesse, who plays the piano on most of the album, and a lot of the guitar as well. He's like the best guitar player I've ever met ever. But he recorded the first one, and he recorded the next one that's about to come out. That's sort of back to Nature Strip style.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was just really, really straight up, just live band. And then I took a few months to do the singing by myself, sort of thing, when no one was around, just into the computer.
Mm-hmm.
Then so yeah, that one was really basic. And then Peanut Butter, when I was sort of on a roll from finishing Nature Strip, because it's hard to keep the momentum for recording, sort of thing. Once you slow down, then it's hard to pick it back up again. So usually, when I finish an album, I just go straight into doing another one while I've
Mm-hmm.
got that momentum and feeling going. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just went straight into doing Peanut Butter, and maybe did like half of that within the first month after Nature Strip, and then yeah, and I sent it to Joe to mix it, Joe from Gizzard, and then he was thankfully brutally honest and was just like, you have to go back and record like maybe half an hour more or something. Like it's just not good enough. Or
Mm-hmm.
so I'm glad he said that, and I just went back to the drawing board. And yeah, that one was just really like staying up really late and smoking weed and just making noises, and it was solely all done on the computer really. And it was really, when I'd go into making a song on Peanut Butter, I there was no, if I opened a new recording project, I didn't have any ideas planned. It was just like, all right, I'll find a drum beat that sounds cool on a drum machine, and then just try some bass over top, and just I'll just layer it like that, just make it up as I go along. Essentially, it
Mm-hmm.
was obvious Nature Strip. Everything was written on an acoustic guitar like the year before or something like that.
Yeah. Is that sort of the same process that? Well, that's how kind of how I would imagine that it was the same sort of process with Maximal Electronics also.
Yeah, that's the same thing, and that was the first Traffic Island thing, really. So it's funny, like Nature Strip is maybe a deviation from the regular Traffic Island now, because there's the two electronic releases and then the one Nature Strip one in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Nature Strip was much the same. I mean, Maxim Electronics. I just bought that new synthesizer and moved into the back of my friend's parents' house. They had this little granny flat. I don't know if you call them that in America. It's just like a little mini version of the house out the back.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I'd gotten back from holidays. I had no money left, and they just let me live there really cheap. And I had that synthesizer, so I did the same thing. Just open up a project and make it up as I went along. And I mean, and doing it that way, there's a lot more crap than there is usable stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I tend to make like 30 songs in order to get 12 to be good enough to put
Mm-hmm.
on a record or something.
Yeah. And when you're recording with a band, do you usually like to do it live in studio, or because I know some bands like to record pieces like on their own and then maybe send it, via email and.
Yeah. Personally, I'm like violently against doing that. If I have a band, I want it to sound like the band and
Mm-hmm.
want it to be the band. Otherwise, I just don't see the point in having the band. Or like, and that even goes into like choosing people to play with. Like, I am really against sort of telling people, you know, how to play their instrument, or like what drum fill to do and that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if I have to tell the drummer what drum fill to do, then it's not the right drummer,
Yeah.
really. So, and I'm really lucky to have the people in the Traffic Island band are all for me, the perfect musicians for that sound. So yeah, I'm blessed to have that. At the most, I would just, I'll tell them what tempo it is, or like, maybe little tiny things, but
Hmm.
I would never sort of write everyone's part for them. And,
Yeah. You more so just like to instill the trust in them that,
well, yeah, I wouldn't ask them to otherwise to play,
yeah.
and it sounds better the people have when people are making their own parts and they're excited to play them, and you can just tell it has a way better energy, and then it's the opposite. You can tell when one person's written everyone's parts and it's all stagnant, and they might be playing everything perfectly, but you can just tell it's
Hmm.
something's a bit stiff about it, or
Yeah. Hmm.
and I don't like that. I like warts and all, and I like leaving a mess and all that sort of thing.
Hmm. Cool. Well, we kind of we really touched on, like the musical aspect. And to me it seems like um you kind of just, like you're always just you're on top of music and stuff like that. But aside from music, I kind of like to get to know you personally. Like what else besides music do you keep yourself entertained with?
Um, I love. Let me see. I love movies lots. I worked at a cinema for a good 3 years. That was my last job.
Mm.
But it was barely even that because I loved my bosses heaps, and it was great. And I was, yeah, got to work at film festivals as a projectionist and stuff. So
Oh, sick.
saw lots of great movies, and yeah, so I'm obsessed watching movies still. And besides that, the same old things that everyone, I love reading, and I love history. So I'm always reading about history basically all the time, and yeah, that's that's it really. I don't do, I don't do much else. I just I'm a skateboarding is the other thing I do every now and then. But
Mhm.
I know I had a really bad injury with skateboarding, and I couldn't play music for a while and stuff. So I
Oh shit.
sort of like had to make a decision on what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
And I figured skateboarding only had 3 years left anyway because you get older and it gets harder, and
Yeah.
I wasn't going to make money from skateboarding because I wasn't good enough really. So
Like
just stick to the.
like Ambrose.
Yeah, Ambrose was good enough to make money from skateboarding.
didn't
Very,
he
very good.
didn't he start skating when he was like 2 and he became a professional or something like that?
Yeah, yeah. Because we grew up in the same town, so I remember it was before I knew him, and he was like this young kid who was like everyone would always talk about Ambrose, this like crazy young kid who could do everything, and pretty funny.
He plays harmonica on the side too.
Yeah, he also plays. But yeah, that's it. Lots of reading, and yeah, I mean, I usually just get real obsessed with certain pockets of history, and then just read lots about it. And
You're
so,
Yeah, that's cool. You're more of a nonfiction kind of guy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Although I do like fiction, but with nonfiction, it doesn't ever feel like a chore to me. I can just read all day, like about that kind of stuff. So
Hmm.
at the moment, I'm just really obsessed with the Renaissance, which I always thought it was a real boring period in time, but
Hmm.
finding out there's a lot of mystery in the Renaissance. So I'm
Yeah.
obsessed with
Yeah.
it.
Do you find that that's cool that you mentioned that you're into reading and stuff? Do you find that that kind of seeps over into maybe like some of your lyrics that you write? Like what you usually tend to write about, it seems like everyday things, especially on Nature Strip, with like things like Lazy Cat and stuff like that. But do you find that, some things like movies or books that you read kind of seep over into your writing?
Yeah, I think they must, but yeah, with writing, I don't, I don't. Um, it's really off the top of the dome. Like I don't really edit anything or like it's with my lyrics for whatever reason. It's usually the first thing comes out, and it either all just comes out really quickly or it doesn't. And like I can never edit words, or I never like stew over writing them or anything like that. It's just
Hmm.
it's more of like an alliteration thing. I feel like if things rhyme and the word feels cool coming out, that's kind of what I would focus on. Yeah, I, I don't know. I don't write lyrics like I'm writing a book or anything. It's way more like conversational, and it
Hmm.
almost a lot of the lyrics almost takes as long to write them as it does for me to like say them, kind of thing. They just sort of one of those strange things. Like, but I'm sure it's like that. Lots of people, it just sort of for whatever reason, like lazy cat, just those two words pop in your head, and then you just keep going. Like,
Just like a stream of conscious.
it's really like that. I think if the songs that I've written that aren't like that, right? I'm really trying just to get lyrics in. Yeah, I could tell, and I don't like the lyrics as much, or
Hmm.
I don't know what it is. Yeah, lately I've been doing lyrics first, which I've liked those songs heaps more. Where I think of the song title or something, then I write all these lyrics down and just make sure the last words rhyme on each line, and then just shoehorn that into some chords or something. But
Hmm.
usually, if I'm reading the lyrics, then a melody will start popping in or a rhythm or something, and then I'll just be like, okay, I'll I'll go with that.
Hmm.
But like, I don't know. If, I'm trying to think of an example. There's one on Nature Strip where the lyrics came first, and then I did the music backwards. And I can't remember what it's called. Oh, Ode to Everything, like towards the end
Hmm.
of the album. Yeah, that one was all lyrics first, and then I went backwards with the music. But so yeah, the next album after the next Traffik albums, a lot more of the music is like that, where the lyrics were made first, and then
When you do something like that, do you have the idea of what you want the song to sound like, or do you like write something and you're like, okay, this would fit with this more?
no, I have no idea really. It's literally like once the lyrics are finished, I'll just start reading them, and then just try and think of a melody as I'm reading along, and then grab a guitar and work out what the key is, and then go from there really.
Hmm.
But
And
yeah, I usually have no idea what it's gonna sound like. But generally it's gonna be something that, that I've grown up on, so it's either gonna, usually it'll just sound like the Kinks or something like that. Like something that's, near and dear to my core of making music. And
hmm, yeah, that's another thing that I was gonna get into is when because you're in a bunch of different projects and stuff. You kind of
mhm,
have touched base on a bunch of different styles and genres. With your the Suggs, that was rap and like hip hop
mhm.
and stuff, and then of course you have Orb and Traffic Island, Nature Strip, and all that stuff. But at the inception, I guess, of when you first wanted to go into writing music, what kind of style did you intend to go into?
Well, we were in an old band called the Frowning Clouds,
Hmm. Yeah.
which Daff and Harmer and Orb, they were in it, and then our friend Nick, who is in a band called Banana Gun. I don't know if you've heard them,
Yeah.
and then our other friend Jake, who's in a bunch of punk bands here in Australia, like Oz Mutants, and it's like, yeah, if you think I'm in lots of bands, like Jake's in, it's ridiculous, like in so many bands. But
Yeah.
so yeah, we were all in an old band, and then it just and that was really 60s based. And well, when we were teenagers, it was like I anything that wasn't from like 65 to 67, I like did not want to know about it. Basically, when I was like 17 years old or something,
Hmm.
well, 16, that's when I started really writing songs. Um, and yeah, I loved Sid Barrett, and I loved 60s garage and stuff, and the Kinks. And so that's just all I really wanted to do forever. And so yeah, that's why when I say Nature Strip's like the album that represents me the most. It's kind of like the album I always wanted to make from when I was like 14 or something. It was like
Mm-hmm.
some kind of crossover between Sid Barrett and jangly 60s pop kind of thing. So
Yeah, that's me and my buddy Wesley. Um, we've always kind of when we first heard Nature Strip, the first thing that came to our mind was, yeah, this totally is like this could be like a Madcap Laughs, you know. It's very
mhm,
Sid Barrett-esque, and it was great. I think going back to Orb, how you mentioned earlier, how you said that a lot of those songs were written around the same time period. You just sort of placed them on like the same album, like the new albums.
mhm,
Um, I never would have thought that that was the case, strictly because I mean, I'm sure they had a different sort of sound in their, you know, in their early stages, and you kind of made
mhm.
them more concise to fit as one album. So like with
Yeah.
Naturality coming off of Birth, there was, you know, it was a lot more synths and stuff incorporated in that.
Yeah.
And then with um, the Space Between, it seems like you guys were kind of more progressing with your sound,
Mhm.
because Birth, it seemed like it was, to me, that came out at the perfect time,
Yeah.
because I actually got introduced to you through Orb when the First and Last Men music video came out.
Mhm.
And that was actually perfect timing because that's when I was going through my heavy Black Sabbath phase
Yeah.
uh,
Nice.
as a
Yeah.
teenager. Yeah. And it was perfect. I was like, holy shit, this is like a new Sabbath album that's, you know, modern.
Mhm.
And it was fantastic. And then moving on to like Naturality, I was just like, whoa, it sounds like they're really, um, I don't know, just progressing and getting more comfortable with what they want the band to, you know, more sound like themselves. Was that sort of intended? Like, I'm sure you didn't always want to just keep on making more births. Like, it sounds like a
No.
pretty natural progression.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the funny thing with Naturality and Space Between are literally recorded at the same time. Like we recorded, we went in for four sessions and did how many songs? Like how many songs across those two albums? We did something like 15 songs or something, and we had all of those songs out, and then we just split them in two, and one's Naturality and one's Space Between, really. So yeah, and it just kind of turned out that way that Space Between's it just sort of worked. That Space Between seemed to have these, songs with more clean guitars and
Mm-hmm.
all that kind of thing. But we're always writing those style of songs, and it just so happened that we just luckily sort of seemed to spread them out in this way that seemed to make sense or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, with Birth specifically, we wanted to be really like just bonehead like stoner rock, like just real,
Mm-hmm.
just power trio. Which I mean, that's my favorite one, or at least like my favorite songs to play live is off Birth and stuff. It's just
Mm-hmm.
I like the simple turn it up and yeah, go
Yeah,
for it.
the songs on there too seem a lot more like jam, just like jam based.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about Orbis. It's never a lot of the time it does sound jammy, but it really isn't. We kind of maybe in the when we're learning the songs they'll be jammy, but
Mm-hmm.
by the time it's on a stage, we know sort of exactly how long each bit goes for and who plays what, and but yeah, they do sort of have a jammy sound, but it really isn't. Like every part is sort of decided on before it's recorded, and
Mm-hmm. So with this new album coming out, is there like a new kind of direction that you're wanting to take it? Since it's like complete, it's all new material.
yeah, it's kind of what you'd imagine the next one after to sound like. I think there's a lot more organ driven stuff. I mean, some of the songs don't have guitars at all, um,
Mm.
but then there's also some. like I said before, like I felt like we needed some real, just sort of fuzzy birth ones again. So there's some that sound like they could be on birth, and but then there's some that, yeah, don't have any guitars at all, or some that have no fuzz at all, or it's just jangly guitar. Like some of them could almost be like Frowning Cloud songs or something like that
Oh
sometimes, I
man.
think. It's, yeah, at part, but a Frowning Cloud song that's got like five other weird bits attached to the end of it or something. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's, I
Just
think I'm hoping it's good. We'll see. Seems like a real big crazy like mess to me at the moment, but I reckon we'll kind of streamline it into something.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm sure I could speak for a lot of people listening that we're really excited for it. Um,
Good.
just as a side note, would you ever consider, doing maybe another Frowning Clouds, or is that kind of just in the past and done?
No, we were like, yeah, we were supposed to record an album last year, and
Mhm.
then you know the whole city was locked down and all that stuff happened, and then Nick had his Banana Gun album come out, and then also I had Peanut Butter come out, and it was just a, I don't think we really, yeah. Then I started working on Suggs right after Peanut Butter, so yeah, I think everyone just didn't really have the time to do anything. We were talking about doing a show this year,
Oh, that'd be cool.
but we have always talked about wanting to do another album. I think now, because I feel like now I think we could make the album that we kind of always wanted to, but like couldn't really do
Hmm.
time for whatever reason. But I'd like to do another one. Yeah, but
Cool.
yeah, there's five of us, and we all make music on our own terms as well, and
Yeah.
everyone writes, and so it can be kind of hard when you have a band like that where it's
Hmm.
maybe too many cooks in the kitchen, or
Yeah.
it can be a bit hard, a bit difficult sometimes.
Hmm. Um, all right, man. Well, I just like to, sort of wrap it up and ask, besides the new Orb, and you mentioned Traffic Island coming out, is there anything else that that we can expect from you in 2021?
Um, Another Suggs one, actually.
Oh yeah, you just dropped a song for that forthcoming one, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that
Hmm.
was, we were supposed to put an EP out last year. I mean, with that one, there's no label. It's just Sheldon and I just doing everything, or just and we don't really want it to get gross and have labels, and
Hmm.
we can't. Yeah, it's fun just to have it this internet thing that's like our own thing, and
Hmm.
so yeah, we were going to release an EP last year, but then we decided to just do another album instead, I think, and so working on that. There's a good half of it's done, and so there should be another Suggs one this year, I think. I'm hoping.
Nice. I did when the first one came out, I did peep a few comments that there would eventually be vinyl for that. Is that still in the works or?
Yeah, I mean that was another thing with the COVID thing. A lot of the vinyl factories shut down, and
Yeah.
but they will be. We were just hoping. Yeah, we were going to see what the demand would be before we go spending all that money on pressing records. But
Yeah.
yeah, there will be. We'll do that, I
Awesome.
believe. Actually, and there's going to be a hair reference one this year,
Oh, very nice.
of older stuff, because we sort of recorded an album before the first album that never came out. So
Hmm.
that's going to come out.
Very nice. Well, that's exciting news. It sounds like you're keeping it busy for 2021.
Yes, always.
Well, man, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sure a lot of people are as well. Um,
Excellent.
yeah, man, it was so cool talking to you. Thanks again so much for taking the time out of your day for doing this. I hope I didn't waste too much of your time.
Oh, of course not.
um, well, yeah, man, I'll go ahead and let you go. Have a good rest of your day. Um, and yeah,
You
man,
too.
look forward to seeing.
Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Hell yeah.
All right, man. Cool. Well, I'll speak with you soon. Have a good one.
You too, man. Thank you.